Hello and welcome to everyone. This is a special show. It's not what we've been doing so far, wherein the guests come in and we discuss about their journey and their experiences. This is a special show because it's on the eve of a special occasion. The Indian women's team would be playing a test match after 6 years, and we thought it would be best to have a preview show regarding that test match. And I have with me Karunya Keshav ma'am, who's written on Indian women's cricket. She's a very ardent follower of the game and knows a lot about what goes on behind the scenes and the way the Indian women's team is shaping up. Welcome to the show, Ms. Karunya. Thank you for taking out the time. And I just want to ask you, start off by asking you, what do you make of this test match that Indian women's team will be playing after 6 years? Do you think it's a good sign of things to come?
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it's a wonderful time to be talking about women's cricket because it seems like suddenly there's a lot happening, both good and bad. I guess people are talking about Indian women's cricket a fair bit over the past month or so. And given the schedule, we're going to be talking about it for a while as well. So that's great. Um, Coming to the test itself, yes, it's very exciting to have a test match being played. As I'm sure a lot of people know, the last time Indian women played a test was in 2014. So that's quite a long gap to have between playing tests. And now that it's not, now we're going to have not just one test, but two. So I'm sure there's a lot of excitement, especially among the players, mostly because, these are women who've grown up watching test cricket like the rest of us, the fans of the game, because they've watched so much. One day cricket, test cricket. And I think we've all grown up in that generation where we've heard that playing in whites is the ultimate for any cricketers. So I think it means a lot for these players that they get to play test cricket. And I think even in this England New Zealand series that's been going on, the ad that's been used that it's called Test cricket for a reason, and I think the women also really appreciate you know being able to enjoy that. Um, I am also slightly concerned, of course, because again, it's such a massive break, and you wonder how they're going to be able to play tests after such a long gap, especially because in the domestic circuit, neither India nor England actually play long form cricket. So, that whole thinking required. To be able to play over 4 days, which is how long a women's test is, um, it will probably take some time, and there are a lot of really young players. Obviously, someone like Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami, and Poonam Rao, they have some experience of playing this format. But there are a lot of young players, so I do wonder how they'll go about it. And I'm also sort of worried because every time. When we talk about women's cricket, we always talk about what we see. So, if suddenly we're going to see them, slightly lower scores or slow paced game or wickets falling, you're going to have a lot of people saying, oh, they don't know how to play tests. This is why women don't play tests. And I'm a little concerned about that happening. But overall, there's a lot of excitement.
The last thing that you've mentioned is something that is the same fear that I have, because somewhere we've had we don't know from where, but we've had this attitude where we are very eager to look down and shot down teams after one buoyant performances. And that is not just restricted to women's cricket, but we've seen that happen to associate teams as well. I remember when the very first test match that Afghanistan played, and they lost to India within 2 days. And then very recently, when Zimbabwe lost both the test matches to Pakistan, there was a similar kind of comment coming in that should these teams be either playing test cricket? While people don't realize that it's a process, and it becomes all the more harder, like you said, when you haven't really played first class cricket in a lot of time. I think it's been 3 years since the Indian women played any first class cricket, so obviously it's going to be tougher. Which brings me to my next question: is do you think that this is the right time to probably play test cricket for the women's team, considering the World Cup next year is in March? So probably the time that has been taken out to play those test matches, one versus England and then versus Australia, could have been utilized to play more limited overs games, because in both the tours they are only playing three ODIs. And if you take out those four days of Test cricket, you could have probably played two more ODIs each with England and Australia. Do you think that could have been perhaps better in terms of looking at the preparation for the World Cup?
That's a tough one. I think again we need to go back to what the plan is for the women's team. So I could have answered your question if there was some idea of what BCCI, the organizers, whoever, want to do with their Indian team, what the coach itself, what sort of plan, what direction they want to take the Indian team in. So without that, it's a little tricky to answer that. Obviously, the test is good for. You know for everyone to rally around something, that's including the team. So if you're going to make the players excited about playing cricket, that has its benefit. And if it takes a test to do that, that's great. um, i I don't think we should get into a place where it becomes one or the other. um, I think there is more and more a push, especially from the players as well, to say that, why don't we have multi-format series every time we play, which is three ODIs, three T20Is, and one test. Uh, why can't that just be the format that we go about it? So tests, T20Is and ODIs, I think they all play very different roles in how you want to showcase women's cricket and also in terms of the skills you're trying to build. So I think it's a little tricky to say, let's just, exchange one for the other.
The reason why I said that, because it has happened with the men's team as well, when when, especially when they're near a tournament and they feel that they probably need more games to get their playing 11 in order to identify which players are going to be the part of the squad, or be a part of the potential 11. Because what happens is, and I had Abhishek Da also over here before, and he spoke that what essentially happens in the women T20 challenge is that when you have just two or three games, the chances to the players on the bench also restricts, because there isn't a space for you to experiment, because you have to win each and every game, which is my concern as well with these three match series. That when you have just three matches, and if you say lost one already, then it becomes very difficult for someone who's on the fringes and should be tried out before a mega event. It becomes absolutely negligible, the chance of them happening. Hence, that is where my question was coming from.
No, you're completely right. Yeah, you're completely right. And I mean, I think this goes back to a larger question of planning. Do you want to be doing these experiments at the international stage, or should you be doing something else a little, before at the domestic level to address these issues? And as you said, with the men's game as well, they have a plan. The year before a T20 World Cup is packed full of T20s, and that that sort of planning happens quite early. Unfortunately, yeah, like Abhishek said, I don't think that sort of planning is there for the women. So it would be great to have that in place.
The planning and scheduling brings me to another question. And I think it's important that we highlighted that after the Australia tour, which finishes in September, October, and then between the World Cup, as of now there are no games that have been planned, and the World Cup begins in March. So there are 4 months of no cricket. Hopefully there would be series which would be played in between, and they would be organized. But it speaks of what you said, that the planning isn't as robust and as thorough as it is with the men's game. Now, what I also want to discuss from you is that, what should be our expectations, from these two tours, beginning with the English tour and then the Australian tour. What do you think the team would be looking to gain from these tours? And any specific players who you think that, the fans should be on the lookout for, or, you think your gut says that they might do well?
Um, I think both these tours will be done with an eye on the World Cup. And when I say that, it doesn't mean just trying out players, but even for the existing players to sort of figure out what kind of cricket they want to be playing. They have a new coach in place. We have a lot of new faces coming into the team. We have a lot of old faces coming back. So I think they're going to be using both these series to really hopefully come together as a team and figure out what sort of cricket they want to be playing. Um, in terms of wins, I'm sure, yeah, obviously they'd be hoping for to win these series, but I think um, more and more it's more about, you know, getting the style right, getting the attitudes right towards how you want to approach your own innings. And I think we saw that in South Africa, in the South Africa series, there was a bit of rustiness. So it's just about chipping away at that, and hopefully when it comes for the World Cup, people will be ready. As for the players to watch, obviously Shafali Verma, she got to play only the T20s against South Africa, so it'll be interesting to see how she does in other formats. I don't know if she'll play the tests, but she might. um, I'm really excited actually about seeing the old guard. Mithali Raj and Julian Goswami have excellent records in England, especially Julian Goswami. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing her bowl. Um, Indrani Roy, I think, would be another, you know, new face that it would be nice to see her get a few games in the limited overs. She's had an excellent season, sort of really carried Jharkhand at various points when they went to the final in the one day domestic games. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see how she does as well.
Now, one thing that you mentioned over here was the approach and the style. Of late, there's been, of course, there was this criticism during the South Africa series, and there has been similar kind of criticism even before that. The batting style and probably the approach to an innings, slightly needs to change. There needs to be some more aggression coming in to the middle overs to ensure that the team is probably posting more of 250 plus scores than what it is doing currently. And because of that, the captain Mithali Raj comes under some scrutiny and pressure, because if you look back at the last 20 odd ODIs, her strike rate is somewhere around 65, if I'm not wrong. So, do you think it's something which requires a collective effort, or do you think it can be managed with a couple of tweaks in the batting order here and there, and probably giving some sort of a license to one of the players who are probably batting down in the lower order can be sent up as a pinch hitter? How do you see it? How do you see this as an issue? Do you think it's an issue which requires a lot of effort and you know concerted concerted strategy, or do you think it is something that can be managed if the team gets a good start?
It's a tricky question because you're right, there is a problem. India's strike rates across the board, I think, apart from Smriti Mandana and Shafali Verma, I think it's pretty dire in general, and especially in the ODI format. I think it's only Smriti Mandana who has a pretty
Harman
strong
sometimes does play an explosive innings, but
I don't think her like career strike rate or even her average strike rate of the past few years um, is in the quadrant of hitters yet,
Mhm.
because very often she also probably has to come in at a time when the innings, they've lost a few wickets and she needs to really dig in, and she's not had that opportunity or that time until recently. I think even her position in the batting order wasn't fixed. She plays her record is best at fourth, but she doesn't get as many chances to bat at that position. So it's really tricky. I think it's not something that India have figured out yet. Hopefully, as you said, these matches are exactly why the matches they can use to figure it out. Um, I I think one of the issues has been stability. There has been a lot of changing in the team, which has affected the results and which has affected personal results as well. Hopefully, over the next few months, the players also get a little more clarity on what their role is, what their expectations is. In, I mean, I think it is um, it is pretty clear that w- we're really strong at the top. Um, I would be interested to see where Shafali Verma fits in the ODI side. I think she might be quite interesting coming lower down and serving that pinch hitter role in the in the 50 over game and opening in the T20 game. But that means like some of the more you know players who so far have been first choice players might get dropped a little lower down. But yeah, I think that's one of the challenges for the coach now to figure that out.
I see. Quite quite elaborative answer in this respect. Now, just want to ask you that from where we are at this moment to the World Cup, uh, where how do you think that the team is shaping up, or do you think a lot would be known after these two series, or do you think there's a the, the squad is pretty much clear except for one or two spots maybe which may be decided on the basis of this series?
No, I think these two series will be really interesting to see what the final squad is that goes to New Zealand. The fact that there have been so few games also is going over the past year is also going to play a role. So much can happen over the next few months in terms of injuries. I hope there are not going to be any retirements, but I mean, you don't know, these things are. Again, it's a long time. A lot can happen in the next little less than a year. Um,
Nine
I
months.
think it's yeah. So I think it's only over the next few months that we'll really understand what the team is. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play. Um, Whether they go back to that style of 2018 T20 World Cup, which was a little more expansive, maybe. Um, how they'll translate it to the ODI game. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time overall.
Do you think the appointment of Ramesh Pawar as the coach after WV Raman's tenure ended can be, looked at as a positive sign in terms of enforcing a more aggressive play, or do you think it's got nothing to do with that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's. Um, I mean, I don't think we can say that, because I think even during the T20 World Cup last year, we did see someone like Shafali Verma who, was given that liberty to play her shots, and a lot of the players look very happy with their roles and the sort of understanding they were given. Harmanpreet Kaur, even though she didn't get the runs, she did look very comfortable with her game. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that goes down to the coach as well. So I don't think it's about one coach versus the other, really. It's well, now there's a team in place with the backroom staff, so it's just about obviously their influence. And Ramesh Pawar has come into this with some work done with Mumbai. So, and obviously that was a team that was invigorated because of, as we understand from his work. So it would be interesting to see how this team also changes, because of course there will be some change. Um, I I'm hoping with time a lot more things will be clear, and that's the. I mean, I think a lot of the problem, as I said a little earlier, has been instability, whether in the back room or um, in the team itself. So if these few months can help sort of calm things down a little bit, I'm sure it'll show in the results.
One last question before we wrap this up. What do you have to say to those who are at few points of time comparing the men's game with the women's game, or are just probably more or less of a critic of the women's game for reasons aplenty, which I personally feel isn't the right thing to do, because people need to understand that one is still a developing sport while the other is a developed sport. So any message that you have for this sort of a section, or this section of fans which is looking to keep bringing down the women's game?
Um, I think it's just about, on one hand, patience and also being a little open. A lot of these ideas I find come from not only being open to change and saying, okay, this is how cricket is played. You know, last 4 overs, you have to get so many runs. You have to bat at this particular strike rate. You have to bowl at this pace without understanding these various reasons why that doesn't happen in women's sport. Um, and there's also this sort of false equivalence that tends to come in, where they say, okay, on one hand you're saying look at it as another sport, but then on the other you're saying, oh, you want equality. That's not it at all. I mean, these are two very different things. So part of it is understanding um, what the sport deserves and what the players deserve. And on the other hand, you look at it to really understand what they're working for, how they're playing. So yeah, I mean, as I said, I think it just requires some patience and sort of just having a slightly open mind, um, and appreciating the game for what it is, uh, and being a little wary about direct one-on-one comparisons without understanding things like context and sort of background and history and all of those things.
Well, I suppose what you said rings a bell on those who are constantly looking to compare and trying to justify some of the things that happen. Hopefully, this conversation brings about a change in the mindset, and opens up the possibility of accepting the women's game and getting behind the women's team. Just like to say that thank you so much for taking out the time. Thank you so much for discussing the game. And hopefully, we have a good series on our hands, a good competitive series on our hands, which gives us a lot of answers towards solving the issues of the women's team in the lead up to the World Cup. Thank you so much. And all those who enjoyed this show, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Karina ma'am, once again.
Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone enjoys the series and gets behind the team.
Thank you.